3 days after my wife's funeral, my daughter placed a stack of papers in front of me and said, "Dad, you don't need to read all this. It's just paperwork to make things easier." I was exhausted, grieving, and barely sleeping. So I trusted her. I signed where she pointed. The next morning, my bank called and asked me a question that made my blood run cold. "Sir, did you authorize the transfer of your retirement savings?" I thought it was a mistake. Then I looked at the papers my daughter had asked me to sign. She hadn't been helping me with my wife's estate. She had been preparing to take control of mine. My name is Robert Miller. I was 68 years old when my wife, Linda, passed away. We had been married for 42 years. She wasn't just my wife. She was my best friend. For decades, we built our life together one paycheck at a time. We bought a modest house. We raised our daughter, Emily. We saved for retirement. We never lived extravagantly, but we never complained. Linda always told me that as long as we had each other, we were rich. Then, after a long illness, she was gone. The house became painfully quiet. Her coffee cup was still sitting in the kitchen. Her sweater was still hanging behind the bedroom door. I couldn't walk past those things without feeling like my chest was being crushed. Emily became extremely involved after the funeral. At first, I was grateful. She brought groceries. She made phone calls. She organized paperwork. She kept telling me, "Dad, don't worry. I'll handle everything." I believed her. She was my daughter. What reason did I have not to trust her? 3 days after the funeral, Emily came to my house with a folder. She placed it on the dining table. "Dad, there are some things we need to take care of." I looked at the folder. "What things?" "Mom's accounts, insurance, property paperwork. It's all complicated." I was exhausted. I told her I didn't feel ready to deal with it. She put her hand on my shoulder. "That's why I'm here." Then she opened the folder. "There are just a few signatures." I asked, "Shouldn't we have a lawyer look at this?" She smiled. "Dad, it's routine. Everyone does this after someone dies." I trusted her. She pointed to each line. "Sign here, then another, and here." I signed. She collected the papers. Before leaving, she hugged me. "You don't have to worry anymore." I thought she was helping me. I couldn't have been more wrong. The next morning, my phone rang. It was my bank. The woman on the other end asked, "Mr. Miller, we're calling to confirm a transfer request." "What transfer?" There was a pause. "A transfer of $184,000 from your retirement account." My heart started pounding. "I didn't request that." She became very serious. "Sir, we received authorization yesterday." I immediately asked for the transaction to be stopped. Fortunately, the bank flagged it before the entire amount could be transferred. But that wasn't the worst part. The bank told me the authorization documents had been submitted with my signature. My signature, the same signature I had given Emily the day before. I called her. She answered casually. "Hi, Dad." "Emily, what did you do?" Silence. "What are you talking about?" "The retirement account." Another silence. Then she said, "Dad, I was only trying to protect you by transferring my money. You don't understand." "No, I understand perfectly." She began crying. She said she was worried that I couldn't manage my finances after Mom died. She said she wanted to make sure I wouldn't waste the money. Then she said something that broke my heart. "I thought Mom would have wanted me to control it." I replied, "Your mother spent 42 years trusting me with our life. She never asked you to control mine." Emily hung up. That evening, I called an attorney. We reviewed every document she had given me. That's when we discovered the bigger problem. The papers weren't simple estate documents. One of them gave Emily broad financial authority over several of my accounts. Another document attempted to change how certain assets would be managed. And there was something else. A property document. My house. The house Linda and I had spent 30 years paying for. Emily had apparently been trying to position herself to control it. I felt physically sick. I kept asking myself the same question. Why? Why would my own daughter do this? A few days later, Emily came back. She stood outside my front door crying. "Dad, please listen to me." I let her inside. She sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Linda and I had eaten thousands of meals. Emily finally admitted that she had been struggling financially. She had debts. Her marriage was falling apart. She believed that if she could control my assets, she could solve her problems. Then she said, "I knew you'd help me if I asked." I looked at her. "Then why didn't you ask?" She started crying. "I was afraid you'd say no." That sentence hurt more than anything. Because she wasn't afraid I wouldn't love her. She was afraid I wouldn't give her what she wanted. I told her, "Emily, if you had asked me for help, I would have sat down with you. We would have looked at your problems together, but you didn't ask." You tried to take control of everything while I was grieving. She lowered her head. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "Do you hate me?" I shook my head. "No." She looked surprised. "I could never hate you. You're my daughter." Then I added, "But loving you doesn't mean giving you permission to destroy my future." Those words changed something. Emily eventually agreed to undo the financial documents. The bank restored full control of my accounts. The property paperwork was corrected, but our relationship was never the same. Months passed. Emily started therapy and began rebuilding her life without relying on my money. We slowly started talking again, but I listened, and that was the beginning. Today, Emily and I have a relationship again. It's different, it's slower, it's more careful, but it's real, and I learned something during the darkest year of my life. Sometimes betrayal doesn't come from an enemy. Sometimes it comes from the person you would have defended against everyone else. But betrayal doesn't mean you have to become bitter. You can forgive someone without giving them unlimited access to your life. You can love your children without sacrificing your future. And you can say no without feeling guilty. My wife spent her final years teaching me to appreciate the people I love. Her death taught me something else. Love should never require you to surrender your dignity, your security, or your boundaries. I still miss Linda every day, but when I look at her photograph now, I know exactly what she would tell me. Protect the people you love, but don't forget to protect yourself, too.